One day, as Buddha was walking calmly through a village, a man approached him, eyes filled with anger, voice trembling with frustration. Without hesitation, the man insulted Buddha, calling him names, accusing him of being a fraud, a deceiver, someone who was leading people astray. Buddha stood still, calm, present, unshaken. The man's anger rose even higher when he saw that Buddha did not respond. He shouted louder, trying to provoke a reaction. But Buddha simply looked at him with soft eyes and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man, confused, answered, "To the one who offered it." Buddha gently smiled and said, "In the same way, if I do not accept your anger, if I do not take it in, then it remains with you." And the man stood speechless. In that simple yet profound moment, Buddha revealed a truth most of us forget. Anger does not need to be accepted. It does not have to be carried. It does not have to define us. But how often, without even knowing, do we accept the anger of others? How often do we hold on to it tightly, as if it belongs to us? This story is not just about an ancient encounter. It is about you, about me, about every one of us. Because day after day, we accept anger as if it is ours to carry. We hold it, we feed it, we let it consume us. And when we do, we are the ones who suffer, not the one who offered it. Think about it. How often, in the course of your ordinary days, does anger visit you? Quietly at first, like a small discomfort, and then, without warning, it takes over. Maybe you're sitting in traffic, already running late, your mind racing with everything you still need to do, and then another driver cuts you off without even glancing your way. In an instant, you feel it, that familiar surge, like a wave rising from deep inside your chest. Your thoughts spiral. How dare they? They don't care about anyone but themselves. Your grip tightens on the steering wheel. Your heart beats faster. And though you're sitting perfectly still, inside, you are on fire. Or maybe it's something smaller. So small that you almost don't notice at first. You come home after a long day, quietly hoping for a few moments of rest. But instead, the sink is full of dishes, the house echoes with noise, and no one seems to notice the tiredness on your face. The anger builds slowly, almost hidden beneath the surface. You try to suppress it, but before you know it, you snap. You raise your voice. You say words you don't fully mean. And then, as the sound fades, you're left standing there, not victorious, not relieved, but tired, heavy, and ashamed. How many times have we played out this same scene? Not just with strangers, but with those we love the most. A partner, a child, a friend, a co-worker. And when it's all over, when the room is quiet again, you feel it, that emptiness, that regret. You realize that while the situation may have passed, you're still carrying the burden of anger. And perhaps the hardest part to admit is this: it doesn't make us feel strong. It leaves us feeling powerless, disconnected, not only from others, but from ourselves. Buddha never denied the reality of anger. He understood that it would arise, just as storms arise in the sky, sometimes softly, sometimes suddenly, fierce and overwhelming. But Buddha also saw clearly, anger is not power, it is not strength, it is not courage, it is suffering, dressed as a protector. He called it one of the three poisons of the mind, alongside greed and ignorance. not because anger is evil, but because it blinds us. It clouds our vision. It makes us forget who we truly are. It convinces us that by reacting, we win. By shouting, we gain control. But tell me, have you ever truly felt more peaceful after exploding in anger? Or did you only feel emptier? Buddha taught that anger is like holding a burning coal, ready to throw it at another. But before you ever release it, your own hand is already burning. The harm does not begin when you speak in anger. It begins the very moment you hold it tightly. We think anger protects us. We believe it makes us strong. But Buddha showed us it only imprisons us. And here's the deeper truth. Anger is rarely about others. It is often the echo of something unresolved inside of us, an unmet expectation, a hidden wound, a silent fear. We suffer, not because life is cruel, but because we wish life to be different. We want others to behave differently. We want circumstances to unfold the way we imagined. And when they don't, we resist, we tighten, we suffer. But Buddha, in his quiet, compassionate way, left us not just with an observation, but with a path. He did not tell us to fight anger, nor did he tell us to suppress it. He told us to see it, to become aware of it, without fear, without judgment, to notice the rising storm within us, and to remain still, not to fuel it, not to deny it, just to watch. And when you watch anger, it begins to shift, like a storm that loses its strength as it drifts away. Anger too begins to pass, not because you fought it, but because you allowed it. So, what do we do with this anger? If we cannot fight it, and we cannot simply wish it away, how do we meet it without letting it consume us? Buddha's answer was simple, but not always easy. He taught us not to push anger down, not to let it explode, but to meet it with awareness, to greet it as you would greet a guest at your door. The next time anger arises, pause. Pause gently. Take one deep breath. Notice where you feel it in your body. Is it tightness in your chest, a burning behind your eyes, a trembling in your hands? Without judgment, without trying to make it go away, simply notice it. You can quietly name it. This is anger. Not, I am angry, but this is anger. This is very different. You're not claiming it as your identity. You're seeing it as a passing visitor. Then breathe, softly, deeply. Notice that the very act of noticing already gives you a little space. In that space, you gain choice. You may realize the anger is not about the dishes in the sink or the driver who cut you off. It may be about the weight you've been carrying silently, the need to be seen, the hurt that you didn't know was still lingering. Buddha's wisdom was never about pretending. He didn't ask us to fake being calm. He asked us to observe. And in that observation, something softens. If you find it difficult, step away, kindly, not as avoidance, but as a gift to yourself. Walk, breathe fresh air. Place a hand on your chest, and just feel. In these simple acts, you begin to train the mind to stay present when anger visits, and slowly, you will notice the gap between anger arising and you reacting will grow. It may only be a breath at first, but one breath is enough to choose peace instead of harm. The truth is, anger does not make you strong, and it does not make you weak either. It only makes you human. You are not broken because you feel anger. You are not failing because you sometimes lose your patience, but now you can see it more clearly. And this is where freedom begins. Not in promising yourself you will never feel anger again, but in choosing how you meet it when it arrives. Buddha never said anger would disappear forever. He showed us that anger, like all things, arises and passes. But when you meet anger with presence, with kindness, with the wisdom of knowing you are not the anger itself, you change everything. You no longer carry the burden long after the moment has passed. You no longer throw the burning coal, nor hold it. Instead, you breathe, you notice, and you let go. Imagine that. The next time anger rises, you breathe, you soften, and you choose peace. Not because you're weak, but because you are wise. And maybe, just maybe, in that quiet space, you will realize that you have always had the power not to fight anger, but to hold it gently and let it pass, like a storm across an open sky. If this teaching touched you, if you recognized a part of yourself within these words, I invite you to walk this path with us. Subscribe for more teachings, for more wisdom, for more gentle reminders that you are not broken. And if you feel called, share in the comments. What is one anger you are learning to let go of? Let's walk this path together.